This isn't an anti-meat video. You've probably heard the usual arguments: animal cruelty, climate impact, health concerns. And yet meat still rules the plate in most households. In the US and Europe, fewer than 6% of people have given it up. Why? Because meat is delicious, it's convenient, it's part of who we are. We grew up with it on the table at birthdays, cookouts, and Sunday dinners. It's not just food, it's culture. Telling someone to quit meat feels like telling them to quit their identity. At the same time, we really love animals. We dress our dogs in sweaters, we build Instagram pages for our cats, we share videos of rescued cows and cheer when abusers get caught. Few things make the internet angrier than animal cruelty. So here's the conflict: we love animals, and we love eating them. The truth is, we're not monsters. We don't hurt animals because we enjoy watching them suffer. We hurt them because it makes our food just a little cheaper. Sometimes just a few cents per meal. And the craziest part, fixing that suffering might only cost you 30 cents. Or 60, maybe $1. Our food system treats ethics like a luxury product. But what if it didn't have to be? Now, let's be clear, farming is complicated. There are many good farmers out there who want to raise animals humanely. But they're trapped in a system that punishes kindness and rewards volume. If a grocery chain cuts pork prices by 10 cents, that's often the exact margin a farmer had for straw bedding or pain relief. So for this video, we're going to simplify things. We'll break down animal farming into 3 categories. Decent animals have space stimulation, some outdoor access, not paradise, but not suffering. Prison confined, crowded, minimal comfort, but not outright torture. Torture camp, zero stimulation, no movement, no dignity, just a pipeline to profit. Yes, it sounds harsh. But once you see what's going on, you might think it's not harsh enough. Let's go through the animals we eat the most: chickens, pigs, cows. Let's look at how they live today, and more importantly, what it would cost to make their lives decent. Because this isn't a video about guilt or going vegan. This is about awareness and simple choices. The power to reduce suffering by billions isn't locked behind activism or politics. It's in your shopping cart. And the price of compassion might just be the change jingling in your pocket. Let's begin with the most invisible victims of the meat industry: chickens. At any given moment, there are over 26 billion chickens alive on Earth. That's more than all other birds combined. And yet we rarely think about them. They're seen as dumb, replaceable, almost disposable. But science says otherwise. Chickens recognize faces. They remember who's friendly and who's not. They form social groups, comfort each other, and even show empathy. They're not mindless, they're not blank. They're just misunderstood. Let's start with eggs. In most parts of the world, over 90% of egg-laying hens live in battery cages. These are tiny metal boxes stacked side by side, each one barely bigger than a tablet. 4 to 6 birds squeezed in, unable to spread their wings. No sunlight, no perching, no dust bathing, no nesting. Just endless laying, crammed beak to beak. Hens become so stressed and frustrated, they attack each other. To prevent this, many farms clip their beaks, cutting off the tip, often without painkillers. It's fast, it's cheap, it's legal. In the US and Europe, there's been progress. Battery cages have been banned in some areas. Barn systems are gaining traction, where hens still live indoors, but have space to move, perch, and explore. But even today, over half of hens in the West are still confined to cages. Here's the shocking part. Switching to a better system barely changes the price. A dozen eggs might cost $3.50. Going from cages to barns, add 24 cents. Free range, where hens get outdoor access and greenery, maybe 70 cents more. Now here's something most people have never heard: 7 billion male chicks are killed each year. Why? Because they can't lay eggs and aren't profitable for meat. So they're ground up or gassed, often within a day of hatching. This happens on caged farms, barn systems, and yes, even organic farms. But it doesn't have to. In places like Germany and France, technology now allows hatcheries to scan eggs early and only incubate females. It's a simple upgrade and costs just a few more cents per egg. So if you're willing to pay 85 cents more per dozen, you can give hens space to live and chick culling and support a system that doesn't crush sentient lives for convenience. That's not a luxury, that's basic decency. Now let's move to chicken meat, and here's where things get even more disturbing. Meat chickens, also called broilers, are genetic time bombs. They're bred to grow absurdly fast, from fluffy chick to full-size meat bird in just 6 weeks. That rapid growth comes at a cost. Their hearts fail, their legs snap, they collapse under their own weight. Many live in constant pain. They're raised in giant dark warehouses, often tens of thousands in a single shed. No fresh air, no space, no chance to act like a bird. They're not seen as animals, they're just protein units. But slowing their growth, choosing breeds that grow slower but healthier, would only raise the price of a chicken breast by about 9 cents per serving. 9 cents, to replace 6 weeks of agony with something close to a real life. We don't need to end meat to reduce suffering. We just need to stop accepting the system as normal. If there's one animal whose treatment truly breaks the heart, it's the pig. Pigs aren't just smart. They're smarter than dogs in many ways. They can solve mazes, use mirrors to find hidden food play video games, and even recognize themselves. They form deep bonds, grieve, and suffer deeply. Yet over 90% of pigs in the US and Europe live in conditions that would be illegal if done to a dog. Most are born in concrete pens with no straw, no sunlight, no stimulation. They never root in the dirt, never run, never play. Boredom becomes aggression. To stop them from biting each other's tails, farms cut their tails off without painkillers. Male piglets. Most are castrated again without anesthesia, just to avoid a faint odor some people might notice in the meat. And the mother's sows might have it worst of all. They're kept in gestation crates, metal cages so small they can't even turn around. They give birth in farrowing crates where they lie immobilized, nursing litter after litter through cold metal bars. No comfort, no nesting, just the endless cycle of reproduction. This isn't farming. This is mass confinement engineered for one thing: cheap meat. So what would it cost to do better? Getting rid of gestation crates, just that, would raise the price of a serving of pork by around 20 cents. Providing pain relief for castration, 1 cent per pound. Giving pigs more space, straw, and stimulation, maybe 20 cents more. Altogether, upgrading from torture to prison costs just 40 cents per serving. And if you want to go further, let pigs live partly outdoors. Give them access to fresh air, dirt, sunlight. Provide 3 to 4 times more space inside. That might raise the price by another 80 cents. All in a little over 1 or 20 per serving, turns a life of pure misery into something recognizably decent. And remember, pigs are basically dogs. They wag their tails. They come when called. They love belly rubs. We'd never treat a dog this way. So why do we do it to pigs? Somehow we've convinced ourselves that meat justifies anything, that the sandwich in front of us erases what happened before. But deep down, we know better. This isn't about guilt. It's about honesty and responsibility. You don't have to stop eating pork, but you can choose not to support torture. And that choice, it costs you less than a soda. If you had to be born as a farm animal, your best shot is to be a cow raised for beef. Most beef cattle in the US spend the first 2/3 of their lives on pasture. They roam, graze, interact with other cows. It's not perfect, but compared to pigs and chickens, it's far better. But their final months, that's where things fall apart. The majority of beef cattle are eventually moved to feedlots, industrial yards, where they're fattened before slaughter. Thousands of animals packed into tight dirt pens, standing in mud and manure. No shade, no comfort. They're fed high-energy grain diets to maximize growth. It's fast, it's efficient, it's brutal, and it's not necessary. Upgrading the final months, giving cows more space, outdoor pasture until the end, might only raise the price of beef by around 15%. Not double, just 15%. That's what it costs to avoid a life-ending sprint through filth. But now let's talk about dairy cows. They don't get slaughtered young. They get something else: a longer life of discomfort. Dairy cows are often kept indoors nearly year-round. They stand on concrete floors that wear down their joints and hooves. They're bred to produce massive amounts of milk, far more than is natural. To keep producing, they must constantly be pregnant. So the cycle begins: artificial insemination. Birth, calf removed within hours so humans can take the milk. Repeat. This separation causes distress to both cow and calf. And over time, the mother develops painful infections, like mastitis, foot ulcers, and lameness. Once her body wears out, often around 5 years old, she's slaughtered, even though a cow's natural lifespan can exceed 20 years. And the price of stopping that suffering? Letting dairy cows graze on pasture, real grass, fresh air, open fields, might add just 10 cents per liter of milk. 10 cents. That's all it takes to make a cow's life worth living. But here's the challenge. Even with low milk prices, many farmers barely break even. The system favors maximum output, not animal welfare. Even if a farmer wants to give cows more freedom, the economics often don't let them. And yet cows aren't machines. They have long-term memories. They form friendships. They remember trauma. They show signs of grief, joy, jealousy, the same complex emotions we respect in dogs and horses. They're not livestock. They're individuals. And for a few more cents, they don't have to suffer. If we claim to love animals, then that love has to apply beyond pets. A glass of milk shouldn't carry a hidden cost of pain. A burger shouldn't depend on a life lived in misery. And the best part, we can fix all of this without giving up meat. We just have to pay what it's really worth. So, what's the bottom line? How much more would it actually cost to treat animals with dignity? In the US, the average person spends about $88 per month on meat, dairy, and eggs. If we upgraded every product across the board to come from farms with decent conditions, that number would rise to about $130 per month. That's $140 more per day, roughly the price of a gas station coffee. In Germany, the increase would be about $35 per month, still far below what previous generations paid before factory farming took over. And remember, this assumes you change nothing about how much meat you eat. But here's the kicker around: 20% of meat gets thrown away. It spoils in fridges. It's left half-eaten on plates. We waste so much of it because it's become too cheap to care about. If we simply stopped wasting, we could upgrade every meat product to ethical standards without spending a dime more. So what can you do? You don't need to go vegan. You don't need to give up bacon forever. You just need to be a little more thoughtful. If there's no label about animal welfare, it's probably torture meat. If a label sounds vague, natural, humane, eco, dig deeper. Some are legit. Many are just marketing. If you can afford it, buy less meat, but better meat. Support local farms. Ask how the animals are treated. If possible, go visit. And here's an unexpected tip: eat more mussels. Yes, mussels. They don't have central nervous systems. They probably don't feel pain. They clean the ocean, don't require feed or land, and are basically protein-packed filters. If everyone replaced just one meat meal per week with mussels, we could save billions of lives and protect the planet too. But let's zoom out again. You don't need to be perfect to make a difference. You just need to shift slightly. Because right now, we're torturing billions of animals for pennies. Not for survival, not for nutrition, for cost cutting. And the good news? It's fixable. We don't need a revolution, just millions of people making slightly better choices. Every dollar is a vote. Every purchase tells the system, I care. Even small changes add up faster than you think. Because if we really do love animals, let's act like it. Not by yelling online, not with guilt tripping or shame, but with small, consistent, quiet decisions. The food we eat shapes the world we live in. It reflects what we value and what we ignore. And today, we have the power to choose better. Not perfect, just better. You don't have to give up meat to care about animals. This is not about perfection. It's about intention. For decades, we've been conditioned to believe that animal suffering is the price we pay for affordable food. But the truth is, the difference between cruelty and compassion is often just spare change. We're not talking about doubling your grocery bill. We're talking about adding a few cents per meal to give animals space, comfort, and a life worth living. When we choose better meat, even just occasionally, we're voting for a food system that aligns with what we believe: that animals aren't objects, that life, any life, deserves more than bare survival. The industrial meat system didn't happen overnight. It was built piece by piece through demand. And we can rebuild it piece by piece through our choices. You don't need to overhaul your entire diet. Just start with this: waste less, buy smarter, pay attention, and when possible, choose kindness over cost cutting. That's how change begins. Not with big, loud movements, but with millions of quiet decisions that add up to something better. What's your take? Would you be willing to pay more for meat if you knew it guaranteed a better life for the animals? Do you already shop by labels or local farms, or is this something you've never considered before? Let us know in the comments. And if you have tips for eating more ethically, we'd love to hear them.